Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this morning's webinar. I hope you're all well. My name is Adam Barker, and I'm an account manager here at 4PS UK. We've got quite an interesting session for you today, something a little different to what we usually do. We're joined this morning by Paul Lloyd, who is the Digital Transformation Manager at Altrad Services UK. Altrad are a relatively new customer of 4PS, and Paul has very kindly offered to share the story of their implementation of 4PS Construct, from the project goals to system selection process and advice for businesses who are looking to go through a digital transformation themselves. So just very quickly, for those of you who don't know, 4PS Construct is our ERP system designed specifically for the construction industry. It's built on Microsoft's Business Central platform, and it provides a single solution to manage all aspects of a construction business. So back in 2018, Altrad Services selected 4PS Construct and 4PS as their chosen ERP system and partner to act as the heart of their digitisation process. So I'm going to hand you over to Paul now, who's going to take you through their journey, experiences and benefits of implementing 4PS Construct. So Paul, if you're ready, it's over to you.
Right, okay, so welcome everybody. My name is Paul Lloyd and I'm the Digital Transformation Manager at Altrad Services UK. And I've been asked to talk to you a little bit today about our digital journey and how we've navigated that successfully with 4PS Construct. First thing I wanted to talk about is understanding why you want to introduce an ERP. Met with people from different organisations that have different objectives, and many of them start out wanting to replace an existing ERP with ERP. We were lucky enough that we were able to engage the senior stakeholders in the business that was not the right way to think about digitalisation. And so we used our values, as you can see on the screen here, to ask all people within the business to take a reset moment and think about what we could achieve if we approach digitalisation the right way. So we felt that we were better able to inspire our teams by having a strategy to be digital first in the industry. That takes a lot of guts, really, to put that out there, to say that you're really going to go after digitalising which you operate. But we found that it was the single biggest impact on the success of the project, that people believe that the new solutions that we were implementing were going to help us win. We digitalised our business through our value of empowerment. And so we didn't use our ERP systems to control what people did, more provide them with data so that they could deliver for their customers. And we found that enabled us to quickly realise tangible benefits, both across our business in terms of increased margin and reduced overhead, but for our customers in terms of quicker on-time delivery. We started out wanting to simplify our business. We were 7 different legal entities that had been joined together through acquisition, and some of them had been through acquisitions in the past and never successfully transitioned to a new way of working. And so we used that opportunity to replace the legacy systems, not just our ERP, but around 27 different systems that connected to our ERP. That in a phased approach that delivered value at each stage. So we were able to keep our stakeholders on track, understanding the benefits, rather than seeing their heart wane under times of pressure. And we focused everything that we did at helping the organisation to win. So we had metrics around how we were retaining contracts for longer, something that we called bundled services pull through. So where we were able to deliver other services into the same customer because our way of operating is becoming more and more standardised, and that we organised ourselves and structured ourselves for growth. Unfortunately, due to COVID, some of that growth's not going to materialise in 2020-21, but we're a lean organisation ready for that. And we used the culture that existed in the business around excellence delivered and positioned our ERP as a natural way of us continuing to improve the way that we worked. So the reason why I led the ERP project at Altrad Services, a business transformation manager, is because it wasn't to do with an ERP. And if we'd started out communicating to the business that we wanted to introduce an ERP, they all would have fallen asleep, because it's not exciting, but it is important. So finding that hook into your business and why is critical. So what were some of our challenges at Altrad Services? Well, we're a project and a service base that delivers into industrial assets, and we enable our clients to extend the life of their assets or construct new assets on same sites. And so we needed a configuration-based system that would work principally at the project or the customer level. And that's quite hard to do as many of the ERPs on the market. We also wanted a robust end-to-end system. And as I described before, this wasn't really positioned as an ERP program. It was positioned as a digitalization. And the ERP was the foundation, what we call the heart of our journey. And we had far too many as-is processes developed over time to map and understand. So we took the brave pill and focused on the target operating model, how we wanted people to behave, rather than going in and saying to them, this is how you currently do it, this is how you do it now. All of our effort and energy into communicating how Altrad Services way was going to be the best way in the industry. And we had some real challenges with our decision making. We were pretty much using data that was between 1 and 3 months of our critical decisions. And so we started from a relatively low level, and that made the realising the benefits somewhat easier, but it also came with greater aspirations. Our digital vision talks about having a customer-led digital culture, simplifying all of our activities down to data and using that data to deliver excellence. Well, the ERP was the foundation layer, and we didn't have any of that at the start. Luckily enough, by the time we got to the end of deploying ERP across 7 legal entities, people understood what we were trying to achieve and got on board with it, and helping us to accelerate it even further. So what we needed was a robust ERP system that could act as our foundation. And so when we looked into the market, we really looked for 3 things. We were a Microsoft house, so we looked towards Microsoft ERPs. We prefer an experienced and a proven industry solution, so we weren't convinced at the time by Dynamics 365, and in certain cases still aren't. And we wanted an ERP system that spoke and understood our business and our industry. And so we found 4PS Construct was the strongest and the best vertical out there. And we're a contracting business, so being cost conscious comes in our DNA, and we needed that proven track record. And as I said before, that was really just the start of the journey. Ongoing, our intent is, and we are now, digitalizing all of our on-site field operations. And so we needed a tool that was scalable as well and future-proofed. So how did we go about it? Well, we started the usual process. We got a number of external consultants to assist us on the journey. So we didn't use another implementation partner. It was just Altrad people and 4PS people. And we went through the normal journey. Yeah, know where you're heading. So we had a clear understanding of our business strategy and this target operating model. We did document our future end-to-end processes. And we made some decisions early on about whether we would go standard and allow modifications. During the journey, we realised that you need to do a bit of both in order to keep the hearts and minds of your teams. And so those organisations that think and feel like they're going to keep standard often are the ones that end up with the change management activities. So we went through the normal process of specifying your functional requirements, doing a fit gap, looking at what the solution must have, should have and won't have, and undertaking a large number of analysis workshops. Our biggest challenges were when you sit down with somebody and ask them what do they want, they typically describe their existing process. And so how do you ensure you're not flooded by people who can't see the future is, in experience, you narrow those workshops to people who do have a future vision for the organisation. We still undertook a number of analysis workshops with individuals. Didn't really see those as a requirement gathering. We saw those more as configuration workshops to starting to help people to understand how they needed to configure the solution in order to cope with their current and future requirements. And that was a really core part for us at Altrad. The configuration workshops were quite extensive, a lot more than we expected them to be at the beginning. And in some cases, you could describe them as change management or training sessions. But we used those workshops to help to ensure that we took as much ownership over the solution as possible. So with 4PS Construct, there are quite a number of ways to undertake any particular transaction. Yeah, our business is centered around the project and the delivery of a project. And so we supported our teams to understand all the configuration options available so that they could choose the one that was going to be the most effective for us in the long term. So what did this process tell us? If you're going to undertake an ERP project like this without an independent implementation partner, you do need to get a couple of good along the way. So we hired a NAV consultant and a project manager who really sat as part of the internal team, just checking and testing and helping to coach both us and 4PS along that journey together. And our biggest challenge was really getting our people to use it. So because we spent so much time involving them on the configuration workshops, they kind of owned the solution, and therefore the super users and the business process owners really were the people who were the others in their team, supporting their teams during hypercare, and are now in the process of leading the next phase of continuous improvement. So in our experience, the more you can get your best people to own and go through that process, the greater value you'll receive at the end of it, because they understand right the way from the benefits case through to how to deal with somebody not being able to log onto the system. And it gives you ownership of the solution rather than it being something that 4PS have implemented for us. So what would be my advice? My advice would be to make sure that you focus on driving value across the whole business. As I said at the beginning, it wasn't about an ERP project, but it was about transforming the organisation to be fit for the future in a digital world. Mine would be to embrace Microsoft. Really, the combination of using the entire Microsoft stack has generated more significant savings than we anticipated. When we started out working with 4PS Construct, we felt it was an industry construction solution, and now because of our combined efforts, we feel that it's also a specialist construction services solution too. We didn't, unfortunately, have throughout the project a dedicated project team. We did lose a couple of key users on the way, and we did lose some of the hearts and minds of our business leaders that didn't really understand systems and digital, but the rest who were bought into the overall strategy kept them on track. And we set out not wanting a overall single solution architect because we were worried about what would happen if that person left. And so we now have a group of people who understand the configuration, who are what we would describe as business and solution architects. And so we are less dependent on any one individual, and it's actually brought departments and our thinking from being departmentalized to end-to-end process. So by focusing on the people of the ERP, the process element, and the system, we were able to generate this digital view of the world and digital view of our business. So when we step back and we undertake another reset moment and we reflect on what we've achieved and what we would do differently, there's a few things that pull out. And unfortunately, we weren't able to deliver all of these internally. I'd advise you to use your best people, the ones that understand the way in which the future is going to be. And they're some of the most difficult people to spring for the business. If you're not able to spring them, then at least use them as part of a stakeholder management group to test your journey. Focus on the formation. people, process, and systems, and link it to the change that's happening in your business. Nobody's going to get excited about replacing one ERP system for another. Be clear about what you're buying. So we bought a very effective ERP system. And sometimes I have to spend my time reminding our senior management of that when they say, what do you mean it doesn't do this? And what do you mean it doesn't do that? And what do you mean it doesn't do that? And my view is, but let's think about what it does do. It does this in a simple way. It does this in an effective way. I'd say make sure you have a good partner. Make sure the partner has a similar roadmap for their product to your organisation. There's no point saying, well, it's a 60% match, we'll build out the rest, if that partner isn't on the same journey with you, because they'll just see your changes as modifications, and their product might end up, I don't know, in 2 or 3 versions time needing 70% modification. And we were lucky in 4PS that they recognised that the construction vertical would benefit greatly from a construction services configuration as well. And everybody on the hook for deliverables. When you implement an ERP project, you spend money. Some of those people are on the journey with you for the money, and some of them are on the journey with you for the outcome. Try to find people that are interested in the same outcome as you. And we were lucky with 4PS. We found people who were committed to the long-term delivery of effective solutions in the construction sector. And then when you stand back and think about the benefits, simplifying the way that we work and replacing 7 different ERP systems with one has had significant back-end savings. It's also not only reduced transactional work, but it's our value-added commercial function to really work with our operations teams to drive margin. Has unified and established this Altrad way. As I said before, we consider 4PS to be the heart of our tool strategy, and at the moment we flow transactions and master data and transactional data from 7 systems through 4PS because it can cope with it. And a real benefit to us has been empowering our team to use the data stored in our ERP system through our Power BI layer. So by embracing the Microsoft stack, what we ended up with was access to real-time data and a visualization tool that empowered our teams to make improvements every day. So what are the key messages I wanted to leave you all with? Be clear about your need. So without clear need and clear benefits, time will sink you. You'll get a new organisational strategy and a new managing director. You'll be hit by a global pandemic. Something will happen that will derail it, whereas we were able to see that through because the clear benefits that we were aiming to realise were clear to everybody, and the ERP system enabled and underpinned the whole business transformation. Be clear about your target operating model. We describe our operating model in gears. So we think we're in 2nd gear at the moment driving our car, and soon we're going to ramp up to a 3rd gear. Well, the target operating model and the end-to-end processes work very, very differently in 2nd gear than they do in 3rd gear. We have a way of saying to somebody, that's a really great idea, but not quite yet. And then you need a partner that has a solution, that has a similar roadmap to you in your industry. Otherwise, you'll always be battling with one another rather than navigating the road together. And get your very best visionary people on board and keep them on board every step of the way. And at the end, and this is the point we are now, it's never finished. So we continually ask ourselves, what's good about what we've done? What can we do better and how? And we build that continuous improvement into the next phase and configuration of our digital solution. And so those are my reflections on the ERP project at Altrad. Sometimes things were tough, but in the end, the prize was worth it, and that's what we focused on.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Paul. I hope you all found that interesting. There's some really good bits of advice there for those who might be thinking of undertaking a similar journey, a journey which we would love to help you along with. So if you've got any questions about anything that Paul's discussed today, feel free to get in touch with any of the guys you can see on the screen now. They'll be more than happy to help you out. Visit our website for more blogs, videos, and other content on our system or general advice for digitising your construction business. And also keep your eyes peeled for our next webinar, which is coming along very soon. So once again, thank you very much for your time this morning, and we'll see you again next time. Cheers.